Hi,
Hey,
good evening, and welcome to the Truth
the
Truth
truth
Behind
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 the
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 truth.
Truth. Yes, indeed, it is an evening here in LA and in Atlanta and East Coast and West Coast and wherever the coast that you're on. Over in Europe and oh my gosh, poor you right now. Y'all are under such scrutiny right now. But over in Africa and everywhere that you have got the opportunity to tune in to the Truth Behind the Truth, we certainly welcome you and thank you for taking your time out this evening. If you forgive me for looking down, I'm letting the rest of your family members know that we are live. Okay, you got to remind people, to come support. So we'll have to remind y'all to come support because y'all already here, right? Anyway, it's going to be a great night on this. We got a lot to talk about, unpack, unfold as we do each and every week at this time. Trying to educate, bring you into the knowledge of the truth. That's why we are the truth behind the truth. Helping you find your authenticity, be it politically, be it spiritually, religiously, socially, whatever link, okay, that we can bring to the table for you. All right, well, let's go ahead and dig in and see how our family members are doing. Sandy, how you doing tonight?
I'm fine, but I want you to know because of this show,
Uh-huh.
Hold
I
on
was
a minute, man.
precluded.
Hold on,
Charles.
Charles, go mute. Somebody go mute, please.
It's
Okay,
Charles.
okay, cool. Not go Sandy. I apologize. Sorry. I just
We got that
Go ahead, Sandy.
resolved.
Yes,
I say
sir.
because of this show, I was
Uh-huh.
precluded from being in the jury pool in New York.
Oh, you know what? I can't. I cannot, because you had already had a reserved opinion of who the person is about to get prosecuted.
Well, I said I could be fair and impartial, but they
Uh-huh.
didn't buy it.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. I get.
well, at least you didn't say burn, baby, burn. But somebody went out there and set themselves ablaze.
Oh my gosh, this is too crazy.
He's
It's too
past.
crazy.
He's transitioned
Exactly.
already.
Clearly. Darnell, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just trying to get past these sinuses and this pollen
Oh
falling.
gosh, yeah.
But all in all, I'm okay. What about you guys?
Same here. My sinuses has been just crazy too, up and down. I feel like I've just been going through it, but this weather, this year has been some mess with this weather out here. I mean, this doesn't, I feel like, to be honest with you, 2020 was just a whole nother year when we moved here because this type of weather we've been getting for this year, that didn't compare to the weather that we moved here to in 2020. It just seemed like this year has we getting all of the seasons that we would have gotten on the East Coast.
Pretty much.
I mean, for real, the rain, the it's just the everything, the elements. The only thing I'm grateful that we don't get is the humidity.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, yes.
From time to time. It kind of has gotten me a little bit. I mean, I'm still pressing through the little ailment that I had last week.
Sound better.
Was when my voice came back, but I still got some congestion going on in the chest area. But it'll pass. I ain't gonna complain.
Do y'all see the Ozempic look?
The Ozempic look. That's another story.
Y'all see the Ozempic is working a little bit these days.
Another story.
They got this look. He got the Ozempic face. Y'all know there's a thing called the Ozempic face going on. The Gunt look.
Is that what it is?
That's what they call it. The
Okay.
Gunt look. Okay, then I'm awful.
Okay, thank you. Charles, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Busy as always.
Uh-huh.
Trying to shuffle through the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But I'll be okay.
No, that's good.
I was going to say that I need an extra check too because now I'm hosting and I'm engineering. I need a double dose of checklists and checkout.
Oh wow!
Or else I'll have my agent call your agent, and we're gonna have.
And I'll call your people. Call my people.
Hey, Miss Alma, how you
Good
doing?
evening, Miss Alma.
Hey, mommy.
Y'all, let's get into this.
Yes.
Y'all know what I've been wondering? Has everybody had to pay taxes back to the their federal portions back this year? Because I feel like everybody's been complaining about having to pay back taxes this year.
Child, I don't even like to think about taxes. I get depressed every time I think about it every year.
Yeah, well, I know we discussed in the meeting this
Yeah.
past week. I just kind of barely mentioned because it's the wrapping part. Of course, taxes were supposed to be done I think it was Tuesday this past
Deadline
week.
is the 15th.
Past Tuesday, but they declared most of everybody wasn't even prepared. At this point, a lot of the news media said that a lot of people, the IRS was saying that a lot of returns had not been submitted. A lot of people are doing extensions. Well, I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, because you really don't know how, unless you have an absolute on your financial disposition, you don't absolutely know how to file anymore because it's so up and down. And then coming out of the COVID situation, I don't know if many Americans realize that last year's taxes you paid back for your stimulus that you got in COVID. And those that thought that wasn't happening, it was happening because that's why you're oh, they got their money. Trust me, they got it. And here's a disclaimer, and Darnell, because you're the resident accountant, you can verify this, that when you had submitted your information for your the COVID relief thing that your president during that time thought he was giving to you out of his pocket, y'all silly ones to believe that. It said right there that this amount would be deducted from your forthcoming taxes, to pay it back at one time. So if you weren't able to do it then and you had to roll it over to the next year, guess what? It rolled over with you, and they probably do some interest on top of it. Am I right?
It was.
Okay.
So, and that's the problem that it's funny because I had several clients which were females. They normally get a good tax back every year. And she was kind of upset and thinking it was me. And I'm like, I've been working with you for many, many years, and we've never had this issue. I've told you this from the top. I said that therefore you've had 4 kids that you turn around and that you got stimulus from. That look for the factor that money will be coming back out of your taxes. She didn't want to believe me. I said, I went over, I itemized, I line by line with her before we sent them in. And she was like, I don't know. I think I said, okay, I'm telling you, so I don't want you upset. She got her taxes back. And guess how much her taxes was?
Oh, God, a couple $100.
$176.
Oh my gosh. I know she was hurt. I know she
107. I had plans for. I said, "Well, this is the thing. You don't think they think they're giving you something for free?"
Yeah, you're right.
I said, think about this. When people came out of the pandemic, a majority of a lot of people were in debt. Some of them are still trying to come out of that debt, or whatever the case may be. They say, oh, you didn't have to pay this bill, you didn't have to pay that bill. You had to pay, you end up still being behind on those bills. So what makes you think they were just giving you some money from the government and think they want to get it back? Come on now.
Right. Exactly.
Do you know this tends to the subject that I put in for the show today? We always have a topic or a concept that we approach. In this show, I put, what separates you from the crowd? Everyone's talking about everyone that isn't measuring up, or what makes you different from them, because we're always going, this person that person that. But what separates you from the rest of us? As my dad used to always say, what makes you different? Why you can't have tax problems? Why you can't be broke? Why you feel you don't have to be? You're not that anointed that things can't go wrong for you. You have to be accountable for you too. So what separates you from the rest of our country? It makes you not have to pay taxes. It makes you have to get PPP loans that you can spend on jewelry and cars. What makes you your taxes that or the 2 years. This is what the guy told me the other day. Trump gave us a tax relief for 2 years. He gave the billionaires and millionaires one forever. And people swept down, and he looked out for us because of those 2 years. He cut our taxes, and then it jumped back up. So I'm still trying to figure out, and they keep telling me, well, Joe Biden wouldn't. Why is it that you hate Joe Biden so bad that you'll take a convict, sexual predator, what do you call it? They kicked out of everything you can name president over a guy who's in there doing twice impeached, is doing something for you, but you can't stand Joe Biden. I'm still trying to figure out how you measure that up. Even Sununu was saying, well, even if he gets convicted, I'm sticking with Trump because I'm a Republican. So you don't care about him being a predator. You don't care about any of this stuff, the failed businesses, the 9 bankruptcies, and all that don't matter. As long as he's a Republican, it's all that matters.
And then on top of that, they look at this as entertainment because, like you were showing us with the report about the court case, to most people, it's just entertainment. What you just mentioned, which is so important and detrimental to the situation of him being who he is, bad business and all of this stuff. The average American look at it like it's a reality show. This is all pure entertainment, not to be taken seriously, and then not to be questioned.
Right.
And that is the problem with our American culture, because this is what happens when you start to celebrity worship and not think of, in reality, what this man has been doing for many years and what he's planning to do once he gets back in office is going to hurt us. It's not going to.
He's been running it he's ran the country like he was running Celebrity Apprentice.
Well, pretty much.
That's exactly how he said, "Oh, this is just like the reality show. So let's run it just like this. Let me put all of my people in place so we can turn around and turn this into a shit show, and then we'll turn. Then after that, everything can fall apart. And then when I get back in, then I give me a little bit more time to build up to try to figure the job out a little bit more.
Make it look like I did it.
Make it even more of a bigger shit show, and then cover up that too."
Right, exactly. So my thing, with this all, and then we can move on to the next subject. I'm sorry, Sandy, I know you had a point to bring, but let me make my point. You can go ahead and say your point on it, but I didn't mean to cut you off. So my thing right this is that where we are grown to as a society is that I think that we have become and some have become and becoming very desensitized to anything that is coming at us. So therefore, what happens is that we start rolling it off like a duck. Okay, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if the taxation is not beneficial to all Americans, but to a certain percentage. Because I know I'm not in that percentage of people, then it just becomes a part of the norm for me. So I don't have to worry about it. Whether it's the electoral situation that we're facing right now, we hear so much every day on our news media about this repeated cycle.
Yeah. We're desensitized.
Desensitized, exactly. This repeated cycle. So it's to the point now that somebody can literally lose their life across the street by gunshot, and people just walk by like, oh, okay, somebody else got shot again. So we have really gone to a modern day of the Wild Wild West. At the end of the day, pretty much so we're there at that. But anyway, go ahead, Sandy. I'll let you go and make a point.
I'm just listening at this point. There's nothing nice to say about Trump. I'm so glad to see him stuck in jail. Not in jail, in courthouse, 8 hours a day. I mean, to him, this has to be, this is the beginning of what jail's going to be like. Yeah, it's absolute torture. He's falling asleep. He's complaining it's cold. The judge is telling him sit down. He has to listen to jurors, tell him what they think of him. And then I was reading a story today, and I don't know how to verify this, but they're saying that Trump is having some sort of gaseous emission problem.
I can't.
Stop. I can't.
What?
Oh, gosh.
And they're saying his own attorneys who are sitting next to him are complaining. And so, is that what you're eating? Is that your nerves? Are you sick? Is that the beginning of the end? But this has to be. And he doesn't look good. At first they were giving us sketches, but now we're seeing pictures of him. And this guy does not look good. And this is just, the beginning. This is jury selection. You start to get into this, and then they're talking about whether or not he's going to testify. And he always, I'll testify and protect myself. But we're probably sure he's not. But they still have to go through that. What if he does testify? What he can anticipate. So I'm just as an American and all these other stuff, Sununu and stuff like that. I'm just loving every moment of it. And Dylan, when you're talking about like this is, reality TV, but this is real reality TV.
Yeah,
it's not scripted, and his numbers are dropping like his stock as people realize he's a fraud. And now they're getting to see him in this situation, and he comes out holding papers and all that stuff he was talking about. Oh, this is this, and this is here's, and he's pulling out articles from 2020, 2021, 2020. He's lying. And if he just keeps doing that, he's going to do himself in.
Right.
Not that he hasn't done himself in already, but he's going to do it worse and worse and worse. So cheers to him.
That's what we hope.
And for I'm sorry, so sorry for being random, but for the tax situations we were talking about, if you really want to know why everybody's having to pay all of these taxes back, look into the Paul Ryan plan from 2017.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, look into that Paul Ryan plan, and you'll figure out why we're having to pay all this money back right now.
But also, Trump's tax cuts end this year.
Right.
And if he gets in, then he can extend them. But if he doesn't, Bush is going after everything.
Right.
He's going after the wealthy, which I don't understand when I hear that Amazon made, some $11 billion and paid nothing in taxes.
That stuff don't make sense to me.
Oh my God, are you for real?
Yeah, $11 billion in profit and paid zero in taxes.
And won't even pay their workers. Get off the damn. God.
Baby, listen.
Well, you can't make this shit up. Okay.
And
and then you have smaller businesses out there that they turn around and they tax your ass. Your taxes be out the fucking roof.
Right. It's so mind blowing as to what is going on. I think behind the scenes with these Fortune 500 corporations and things like that, and how they've got people, attorneys, everybody that sit behind it, and it's like the old days. Well, I won't say the old, but I want to say back in the biblical days where you had the scribes and the Pharisees that sat there and looked at the Torah over and over again to find flaw in it, and every time that they disagree on this, these people are just like that. I don't understand how they can keep this kind of propaganda going. It's amazing to me, it really is. But anyway, we got to go for a quick break. We will be back talking about more in just a minute. We'll see y'all in a second. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. Want to remind you next week. Oh my gosh, I am so excited, but even excited even more because this exactly what we were talking about before the break is going to give you a clearer insight on media perception, give you a better perception on media, I should say, and what actually goes into why this propaganda is being recycled over and over again, and you're being programmed to think one specific way about a subject, within it. But next week, our special guest will be Tara Jones, my wonderful actress, Tara Jones from Atlanta. She will be on next week. Very, very powerful young lady there, actor as well. I'm sure some of you have seen her, some of the things that she's been on as well. Her daughter, Skylar, she's another up-and-coming actor. Very, very, very talented young lady. So I'm sure we'll dig in a little bit about Skylar as well. But she'll be our guest next week here on The Truth Behind the Truth. So we're looking forward to digging in a little bit more deeper conversation about this media, so you can have a clear understanding. Speaking of which, and real quick about this media, the programming is one of the things that has gotten people in such deceptive modes because as you've noticed that those of you that watch the news, and I thought hopefully everybody's watching some sort of news, out there, they will tell the lengthened portion of the story when it first comes out. Yeah. And then each time they recycle it, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. If somebody has an explanation in the beginning, in the first one, they start cutting that interview shorter and shorter and shorter. So it becomes like that person said less when they said more. And what they put out to you is the sound bites. And most people don't catch it to the end, and they just start living their lives about sound bites. Then you have people that are on social media that take those sound bites and add their propaganda to it. So therefore, you start believing things that are not true, and you think it came from the person in the beginning. That's a bunch of mess, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it really is. I mean, so question is, and you can throw it in the comments tonight, guys. where do you see yourself in all of these things that are going on right now? Where do you see your life? Where do you see your life as a political figure? Meaning that, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Or are you a independent? Or are you just don't know? You know, throw those comments out there and let us address it, or send us an email, ttbttshow@gmail.com, because we really want to hear from you, and we really want to have that discussion so that we can help you have a lot more clarity about it. I love it.
Oh Lord, no! Oh no! Oh no!
Peyton is, I know that's right. But so that we can know
Yes.
exactly what's where your thoughts are and what's going on with you in today's society. But anyway, let's go move on to our next topic tonight. So let's kind of jump to LA real quick. I think Don brought this to us in our meeting, and if it's happening here, it's going to spread. So what the streets, what the word on the streets, as we would say, that's going on, is that if you now have not registered your vehicle with your tag, your license tag not registered, and the police runs a thing on your tag showing that it's expired or whatever, they're immediately towing your car.
They're towing like hell.
They're not giving the ticket. They're actually towing the car, and probably leave you on the street wherever you got stopped at. So, man, I mean, it and the reason we're bringing this up tonight, not chastising people, because different reasons why people haven't gotten their tax. Sometimes the taxes is like way a lot of the price range for people, but I guess what we're trying to say is that all of these different laws and these things that are changing, that are around you, and you're not being aware of them because you're not necessarily paying attention to your state and local laws, okay, and how things can change right up under your nose, and you have no clue as to what's going on that's around you. That's something that's going on here in LA. Charles, is that happening in Atlanta, or how's that working?
I'm sorry. Did you ask me something, JB? I was trying to set up.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. No, I was asking you that about the law just mentioned about what they're starting to do here in LA and LA County, what they're doing about tag registration. That if a person's tagged, now I know in Atlanta, Georgia, they bad with that because they give you an $80,000 ticket and then they send you all over across America, all over Georgia to try to get it taken care of. But have they added anything to that at all, or is it still the same thing?
It's still the same, but I heard that there's some new things going up before the this new what do you call it, the state representative, yeah, state legislature. They're doing some new things because they also restructured the morality clause with Fannie Willis. They made it so that if they had made it that way before, when she got in trouble, she'd be thrown off the case and released of her duties. But they did it after the fact. So now they're saying, can they make it retroactive? What they haven't, but they're trying to make it retroactive. Now they put it
Get out of here.
Yeah.
What? And it's funny you brought that up because just what, as we mentioned last week about the passing of OJ, and then we go back to his trial, and then was it Marsha Clark and whatever they was having an affair during during the time of the OJ trial? Darden, yeah, was having that affair.
Chris Darden, yep.
And then it wasn't held. They weren't held in contempt of court, quote unquote, for that. And all of a sudden now, because the orange idiot is about to get the book thrown at him, now it's all of a sudden a problem. Dang, I wonder why Fannie didn't pull that up. She should have pulled that up out of her trick bag, and kind of like, wait a minute now. One of the biggest cases in the century, and went on. And next to this, because my case, of course, I'm sure she's saying clutching her pearls, my case is gonna be the biggest case in the century, Excuse me, when it comes to excuse me, guys. Go ahead.
That was a political situation in itself anyway, because I mean, they were gonna find anything that was going to mess that situation up with her in a way, because it's Trump's people, it's MAGA. It's MAGA. It's Georgia. Mm-hmm. It's Georgia. You said MAGA, I mean, that's even though Atlanta is not MAGA land, but you can't stop the outside forces from that controls Atlanta that supports Trump. They were going to find a way to undermine this lady and what she was coming with. So to be honest with you, it was going to happen regardless. It goes back to the situation with, when Obama was president. They were going to find a way to undermine Obama's presidency. No. Just like they were going to find a way to undermine this woman's this court case with Trump. So at the end of the day, it was going to happen.
Right.
It was definitely going to happen. But I'm trying to go back to the subject matter that you was talking about before we talked about Fannie. What is the reason for them towing all of these cars because of the fact of the registration? Are they doing this because a lot of people who have come into LA are they coming in with license plates that are not updated?
Oh,
is it a criminal something that's going on that they're doing all of this craziness?
I don't know how people they just keep coming up with these laws.
I have a theory.
What's the theory?
I have a theory.
What's that?
My theory is people are so busy complaining about the immigrants, these EBT cards they're giving them, the housing and all this shelter and so forth, that they say, okay, well, if you want to complain, it's a Gestapo tactic. Now we're going to hit you with something that'll take you away from all that, and you won't be worried about that no more.
Wow.
A distraction.
Because they say, well, our tax money is going towards this. So guess what? They're going to say, well, listen, if you say your tax money going towards this, they'll find a way to turn around and gain some more money, because they still trying to make up money from when LA was sitting on a standstill for almost 2 years or so.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So true.
Yeah, I mean, these legislative, ideas and what they've come together when they get together and to find more way to, as they would say, fleece people for more money. It just amazes me how stuff that comes up each and every year. It's something added to the fuel of people just being surviving and making it, and then things that they should be spending time on or penalizing. From my opinion, they don't. I mean, I have this thing here in LA about these loud mufflers. I mean, I thought that was going to be done away with some time ago, but it's getting worse. I don't know, Sandy, how's that out there in your area? I mean, you have these loud mufflers and all types of stuff.
Oh my goodness! I walk every day and these things go up and down the streets, and I go, how can that even be fathomable? But I'm going to go back to what you're saying about the cars, because I'm not sure I understand your position. When you driving is a privilege, we get our license is a privilege, and owning a car is part of the privilege. And if you own a car, you have to get it registered. You have to have a license plate, and you have to pay for that. So, are you saying that they shouldn't? If a vehicle's unregistered, it should just be allowed to go out there?
Or? Oh no. We're just saying how the laws have changed, to further it in more. So making sure that you get that taken care of, so this doesn't have to befall you as a person, or whatever. We're just making them aware how the escalation in the law has happened, versus to where it was one time.
And yes, so for those of us that are against Trump and every law that he breaks and stuff like that, if we're going to let, I didn't register my car and they towed it and they shouldn't have done that, I should have had a grace period or something. Then we go, okay, so I'm not abiding by the law.
Right.
And as much as I'd like to have a break, or maybe I couldn't afford to, or someone couldn't afford to, those are what the rules are for the society we live in, and we either have to play by them or not have a car.
Right.
And it's a drag. And I feel bad for anybody in that situation. And maybe you can plead your case when you go to court and you say, Your Honor, I didn't have the money. I was out of work. I had COVID. I was sick. But, if everything's an excuse and we break the law everywhere at any level, then how can we hold our leader to any, including especially Trump, to any kind of ethics if we go, well, we don't want to. So
I agree. So, and you bring up a very good point. So, what do you think about the people that have already, quote unquote, not followed the guidelines? I hate to say law, but that just sounds so but broken guidelines that have been established, and then this man that this constant conversation is always about, he gets off from this. What do you think is going to happen to the prisoners and different ones that have been incarcerated for all this period of time for what they've done, and then he gets off for all the shit that he's been doing and have done? What's going to happen then?
Who are you saying he? Trump?
I didn't want to say his name. Trump. So if he hypothetical, this is just a huge hypothetical, but it's a good conversation. The fact is, so it is government going to allow a grace for these people based on their charges to be released from their charges, reduced, or gotten out of jail, or whatever they've been serving time for, because this man got off and not being held accountable for any of the shit he did? So so what do you think about that?
Well, the Supreme Court.
I know it's a loaded question, but go ahead.
They're not.
Darnell, they're going to do something, but whatever they're going to do, they're just not going to let everybody out of jail. They're going to say, okay, there were 6 charges. One of these ones with this, whatever that one charge is, they're going, you went too far on that one according to the Constitution, and it doesn't qualify. So you got 6 years. So on that one, you got a year. So we're going to let that one go. So you're still going to have to serve 5 years. You're still going to have to serve something. And for Trump, look, he's got what did he have? 94. Now it's 90 counts. We can't even keep Trump. But the most fascinating thing to me is when Bragg first filed this lawsuit against Trump, everybody thought, well, this will be the least, and he was prepared to step aside and let all the other ones go before him. But somehow Trump wormed his way and delayed all that stuff. So here's Bragg front and center, and he's got a really good case. And I'm sure you guys are aware of this. They were calling it hush money, but it's not hush money. It's election interference, which is a federal crime. And so as the people start to watch this and the media changes it, of course, Fox will make it, it's just a hush money, but it's election interference. This guy did what he could to keep it a secret, to pay it off, to make sure it wouldn't come out during his election so that would be favorable. So no matter what the Supreme Court does, even if they say, okay, well, you can't charge Trump with this in these 4 districts, which he's actually only got 3 cases. So in these 3 cases, you can't charge him with this one thing. So he's going to go from 89 or 90 charges against him to 87. Big deal.
Right.
He's still done so much other shit that, by the time he gets this, and look, he's put himself on trial here. And he can't stop this thing. It's a runaway train. And for the first time in his life, he has no control. Everything he's tried to slow it down is not working. And, and if you really want to talk about something important, because we get to watch this every day, this thing that's going on in Congress with Mike Johnson. And here's a staunch Republican, Republican who I disagree with about everything. But somehow this guy said, you know what, I'm going to act on behalf of the country. And we're about to have a huge bipartisan Democrat and Republican funding Ukraine. And to anybody that thinks we shouldn't be funding Ukraine and goes, hey, you know what, you want your sons and daughters having to fight a war overseas because we didn't give money to let them fight themselves. I mean, and to listen to Marjorie Greene, the rhetoric coming out of her. So this Mike Johnson, and I may disagree with him and everything, but the guy he's doing something for the country and not sitting on the sidelines going, I'm not going to do anything. And his job may be at stake. And we don't know for sure if the Democrats will rescue his job. I have a feeling they will, and they'll make a deal, but they'll say, hey, let's get this country moving. Let's do things. This infrastructure bill, which is now 2 years old, is now starting to fix things. And things are starting to happen. It's putting people to work. We see unemployment going down. We see the GDP going up. And you go, and Trump's out there going, are you better off 4 years today than you were 4 years ago? Hey, you were killing people 4 years ago and telling us to take ivermectin and bleach. And you should have taken some, so you could have got the orange off.
My issue is that the people who are fighting Mike Johnson, they don't have an alternative to what they're trying to get accomplished. They're just trying to bring destruction and chaos to the systems that are supposed to help out the government and supposed to help its people. Marjorie Taylor Greene has no idea what she's there to do but to destruct. I mean, the only thing she can discuss is the fact that there is no abortion law anymore. They already eradicated Roe versus Wade. But stuff like that, that's all they stand on. But they have nothing to help the American people. Nothing. There's nothing, no plan there, no solution, but dumb ass rhetoric that they stand and they talk about, but they don't do. So they're trying to get rid of this man because he's going to help Biden. And there's an election that's going to happen, and they don't want Biden to do anything but self-destruct and a Democrat. So they're trying to do whatever any means necessary with that.
But you know what
it is with Johnson? History is going to look bad. History is going to look bad on Johnson. That's the problem. He had a conscience. He thought in history, my grandkids, my brother, everybody knows me, and the future's gonna look back at this moment and go, "Well, what's wrong with your daddy or your granddaddy that he held down the country when all these folks are coming across the border, reclaim all these people across, and he wouldn't put bills on the floor to help the country when they needed them." He's gonna look bad, and he probably thought to himself, when history repeats this moment, I'm gonna look really, really ugly. He thought, I need to do something to show that I at least was trying to do something on behalf of my country. And like Sandy said, this is a good thing. And they're not liking it, but it's a good thing. It's going to do from the rest of the MAGA folks.
Right. Go ahead, Darnell.
You know, I was sitting back earlier this week, and I was saying to myself, now, I wish that if the Republicans don't want to listen or pay attention to the Democratic parties, they should pay attention to how Dubai handled their issue this week.
Okay.
They went through a storm. When I tell you, them folks went through a full storm. Maybe they caused it allegedly themselves with this getting 18 months of rain in one day.
Right.
But I can promise you, those people, when I tell you their leader had that place back together like that, the people didn't have to worry about it. They didn't have to, it wasn't no division. It wasn't no anything. The people were on the job and the people were back up and moving. But the Republicans are so hard and gun-ho to try to fight everything that the Democratic Party is trying to do. We can never get any issues resolved or whatever.
Right.
Like, you want to talk about the border, but y'all want to fight the border. You want to talk about the factor of the guns, but y'all want the guns. You want to talk about the police or wherever the case may be, but y'all want the police to do whatever they want to do. It's just like everything that's right, y'all want to make it wrong. And it makes no sense to me. It's crazy.
If it's supported by the Democrats, they would rather make it wrong than right.
Well, see, yeah, exactly. The senseless thing here is that the one thing that they're failing to realize at the end of the day, just before we go to break, is that this is the United States. Okay, number one. All right, and as they're creating fictitious laws or whatever the case may be, they're going to have to follow the same exact laws that they're trying to put in place for somebody else. And there's no way in the world that they're going to get away with the things that they can get away with by not getting around the law that they're trying to put in place. It's going to affect everybody. So stop being stupid, thinking that you're going to put somebody in, in a difficult way or harm's way because you're going to get, you're setting up something. It's going to affect you too, baby. At the same time, guess where you live? Right here with the rest of us. We'll be right back after this break.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
As the only Jewish American on the panel, I think. Teresa,
don't do that. Don't do that. That's not.
You
the
said
point.
Jewish American. I am a Jewish American.
Okay.
No.
You're a big time Democrat.
After a Democrat calls him out, a Fox News MAGA pundit loses it. Of course, without presenting any evidence and no mention of exactly how anything President Biden has done that would qualify as throwing Israel or Jewish American students under the bus. This.
Wow. He was ready to jump through the camera on that one, boy. I'll tell you. These are and again, so glad for Tara being here next week. What is going on with all of this stuff? It's just a mess, and somebody will say it's a shit show in the media. because everybody has these unnecessary collective opinions that they're not offering solutions to help the American people. It's just as bad as the politicians, or worse, because they have a bigger platform than the politicians do, because they're out there every day. So they have a bigger shit show to spread more shit.
But like passionate, that's not gonna get your point across in a way. I don't like the way these people conduct themselves, like Stephen A. Smith and all these people who like to get so passionate to the point that they look like they're going crazy. Like
Stephen A. Smith has no relevance
it gets a little
at all.
More performative. It gets too performative for me, and I don't like it because I don't understand it. Why are you getting so crazy over what? Like, it just that type of stuff. It gets a little ridiculous.
It draws attention, and Stephen A. Smith needs to take the legend leaders that he's put on the sports side, and that's it. He don't even talk about nothing else. At the end of the day,
talk about definitely anything else.
Oh yeah, nothing else. That's just that's a whole nother. We can dissect all of them for that.
But I have a question though. With Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yes.
How do y'all feel about him running as an independent? Do y'all think this is a good idea? I don't think this is a good idea.
I'll let Sandy take this in just a second. I just think that he's an embarrassment to the Kennedy family. As far as to what has happened, what has gone before him, and the way that he is going about this, I think that he should have kept the same message that his lineage tried to, present for the American people. We would have been in a better place. And I think that he was just so fixated on trying to become president and then going out here to creating a third party. That's not helping. And your message you need to stay on point with your message, man. I'm serious.
How do y'all feel about it?
Sandy, go ahead. What you got?
I have terrible jokes is what I have, but I can't stop myself. Of all the Kennedys to get shot, and they haven't come after him. I can't. Oh, I told you it was a terrible joke, but I just go. And the woman he's picked as to be his vice president, but Biden was in Pennsylvania and he got I don't know how many Kennedys the whole Kennedy clan except for him to endorse him, and so you go, this guy's a lunatic and he's fringe. The Kennedy name. He's dishonored that, but he's dishonored being a human being, the radicalness. So, I don't think he's going to be. At first, they were trying to figure him into all this stuff. But, we keep seeing this stuff about Sununu, who says, well, even if he's convicted, I'll vote for him. You go, well, why don't we see what he's convicted for first? And why don't we see what happens when the country turns against him and goes, wait, we didn't know all that stuff about you, because what's becoming unbelievably apparent to those of us that watch anything with this trial is how little so many people know about this guy and what is going on, and they're not paying attention. So we sit here and we watch all these polls and they go, we've had a poll of registered voters, registered Trump supporters. Oh, okay, so Trump's leading. What a surprise. But then when you start going, okay, now we're going to, then they did a poll of unregistered voters and people unlikely to vote. And they said of that subsection, Trump was leading like 90-10. So let me see. You're leading 90-10 of people that say they're not going to vote. That's a hell of a survey. That's a terrific poll. Good for you.
Right.
But, everybody's starting to get educated, and this country is 40, and 20. 40 Republican, 40 Democrat, and 20 undecided that haven't paid attention to any of this. So when you look at this jury pool and you listen to some of the questions they ask me, well, no, I don't watch it. I don't really know. I don't know much about them. I'm not sure. And you go, really? So for those of us that are invested in it, we're surprised by that. But a lot of the country, and when you say 20%, you go, a country of 300 million people, there's, 60, 70 million voters that have no clue about this guy, haven't made a decision, haven't been to the polls, don't know, don't care. And the few weeks before the election, they'll go, oh, I guess I got to pay attention to this, which is what they did last election when they went, oh, Biden or Trump. One guy's a lunatic and the other guy tried to kill me with the one guy's a lunatic who tried to tell me COVID wasn't happening and I was getting better, and the other guy who's looking to fix everything, I'll go with that guy.
You know, you brought up a very interesting. I know, Darnell, I'm trying to cut you off. I know you had a point coming there, but you know, the thing that gets me, and we talk about this all the time, that I don't understand. How could you live in this country and not know the stuff that's going on? Another word I wanted to say, but I'm trying to be nice right now. Okay, that I just don't understand this. That you don't know. Where the frick are you people? What the frick are you people doing?
It's so easy to explain to you. I can explain it to you. And I can explain like this. Years ago, I worked in Las Vegas as a 21 dealer at the Sahara Hotel. When my dad, comedian Buddy Hackett, was performing regularly, and we had a giant marquee. So if you were an employee, you couldn't approach the hotel from any direction without seeing the marquee to see who was working there. Whether it was Buddy Hackett or Don Rickles or Johnny Carson or Tony Bennett or Lena Horne or Eddie Arnold or whoever. And I would sit there in the break room and listen to people, dealers. I'd be sitting at a table and people would come up and they go, "Who's performing here?" And dealers go, I don't know. I don't know. And then you have customers that would say things, is there dinner at the dinner show? What time is the midnight show? So, you know, and I've been on cruise ships working as an entertainer. When they go, what time's the 8 o'clock show? I go, I don't know. I'm going to take a wild guess here and go 8 o'clock. But that's our country that we live in. These are our fellow Americans that don't know, don't give a shit, don't have a clue, and until they either absolutely have to or they have no idea. So when it's small like that, and you go, you know, now that my kids aren't in school, I didn't know when Easter was. I don't know when Passover. And if I don't look it up, because I had the school calendar, I said, oh, here's Passover, here's Easter Sunday, here's Memorial Weekend. I don't have any reason to look at that unless I need to know. Right. So there's things I don't know about also, but things that I used to know inherently go, oh, it's President's Weekend. My daughter's going to be off from school for a 3-day weekend. So that's just what goes on. And these people don't know and they don't care. And we used to be on television with the news and stuff like that. And people, where are they getting their news from? We're getting it from TikTok, which we may ban. We're getting it from Instagram. We're getting it from, you know, cable news. We're getting it from my phone, from my news app. You know, and they just they don't know, and they don't know what to believe.
You know that Taylor Swift coming out with a new album.
She came out.
With a new album. That's all they know. Darnell.
Yeah, pretty much.
But God bless her. At least she's telling people to vote, and she's telling her fans register and go vote.
Right. You know, funny, like we're on the subject and talking about comedians. And I love how Jimmy Kimmel always takes on his show. He pulls people randomly from the street. Charles has a story about this too. Pulls the people from the street and asks them these random questions that, you know, that they can't answer. That's exactly what we're talking about right here. And it's like they answer the most stupidest, and you're like, what planet are you from? You know, Charles, go ahead and share your story about that real quick.
Before that, then, I'm so sorry, Charles, to cut you off. I think, honestly, when it boils down to this country, we live in our own pockets.
Yeah, well, that's true.
We don't step out. Like, I lived in the South, and I grew up in the South. Yeah. You know how many people in the South don't go up north for anything, or don't go to see certain things because it doesn't relate to what they believe, or, you know, if it's not football, if it's not church, if it's nothing to go see. And it's just, that's the country that we live in. I'm sorry, Charles. I just wanted to add that.
I'm going to speak to that after Charles tells the story.
Go ahead, Charles.
Well, you know, Jimmy Kimmel does that stuff. So before January 6th, he took Mike Pence's picture out and asked people, who was he? And they would say he's the chief of the FBI. He was this and that. Nobody knew he was the vice president. Nobody. So then about a few years before that, my son was caught by Jimmy. And they said, if Kim Jong-un did some kind of weapons deal with South Korea, and they came back and it was this and that, and my son was looking all confused because he's my son. We talk politics, and he says, "I don't know what y'all just said, but you got to say that shit all over again because I didn't get not a word of that." Right. And that's why I said, "Son, I was so proud of you because you didn't fall for." Most people would say, "Well, Pence bought a new car." They go, "Yeah, I heard that. I saw that on the news." When it's a lie, they would try to feel like they're so informed, and they're not informed. They will go with whatever said just so they don't look stupid, and they still look stupid.
Well, you know, the other thing Jimmy did, he went to the South Carolina primary when it was going on, and they were interviewing people, and they say, "Can we ask you a question?" They go, "Sure." We'd like to know, you know, the president, President Biden he's got 92 counts against him. And what do you think about that? And they go, well, that's just terrible. It just shows you the kind of guy we have in the White House, and he shouldn't be president. They go, oh, I'm so sorry, my mistake. I meant Donald Trump has 92 counts against him running against Biden. They go, well, you know, it's a conspiracy against him. They're all, and you go, you can't win. You can't win. It's just, you know, as soon as you change it on the other person, oh, him. Oh, that's fine. It's okay. It's all a conspiracy.
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I was about to say, it goes back to that popular GIF or meme where your girl Kiki Palmer say, I don't even know this person. If I ever seen him, I wouldn't know him or her on the side of the street. Apologize for that, man. You know she was talking about Dick Cheney, right? Oh, in the picture. But that goes to show you that a lot of us are not attuned to who our leaders are. Yeah, and for her really not to know that was our vice president during Bush's era, right? You know, that tells you a lot. That you know we live in a country with leaders and all this other stuff. We don't know who our leaders are, nor do we know what our laws are. So you know,
this is why I think that we'll end up, if we don't wake up, we'll end up being pushed off into the abyss and wonder how you got there. You know, I mean, and it's very sad, but this is why you have shows like us. You know, they may not think we're reaching the 10,000s every time we come on, but we are reaching 10,000s one way or the other. But at least you know that every time you pass the truth behind the truth, you know that you have an opportunity to learn something and gather information to better your life. Now, whether you accept that is going to be on you. Whether you apply that is going to be on you. Whether you go and do further research to even fact check us, that's going to be on you. But we do put it out there. We want to help you so that you're not one of these people that walk up to a microphone and look completely idiotic because you didn't know what was going on.
American way.
Calling it being American way. You know, or getting bamboozled by laws and things that are being put on the books all the time. You know, all the time they're changing. Every July 4th? Yeah, every July 1st, there's a whole new rollout of legislative laws that they've already discussed, that they've already passed, that you have no clue about what's going on until something befalls you, and then you find out, oh shit, you know what? I didn't know. Well, you didn't know because you're not paying attention. I mean, that's all we're saying. Just wake up and pay attention a little bit here.
We're supposed to go to break. I'm so sorry, Charles. We bypassed the break.
Oh no!
Don't even worry about it. But you know, it goes back to that. It goes back to that quote that Charles puts up every now and then from Rockefeller. What's the quote? One more time, Charles, that you put that you sometimes show before the commercial or after the commercial.
Yes,
I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. The situation in this country, we have a lot of people who work, but they don't pay attention to what's going on, and that's the situation where I think. A lot of Republicans believe if people have jobs, they won't be paying attention to what's going on with laws and what's going on with their pocketbook. Just keep them busy. Every time there's a protest and it dibbles and dabbles with a lot of young people protesting out in the street, the first thing they'll say is, why they're not working? Right. Or they don't have jobs. They don't have things going on. The reason why they're out here making a mess of everything because they don't have nothing to do. Right. So that's the situation. That's the situation of the country. That's why you have people who work for Amazon don't understand that Amazon is making a killing off the fact that their workers don't know that they didn't pay no taxes or they don't have to pay taxes.
But they charge them taxes though.
Yeah, they charge big taxes. Yeah. Every paycheck I get charged a big healthy tax come out of my check, and I don't even want to know where that money is going.
Right. Yeah.
It goes somewhere where it doesn't need to go, and some Supreme Court justice pockets.
Right.
Jeff Bezos can go he can fly to the moon and go to space. That's what it's for.
Have y'all seen Clarence Thomas? Where's Clarence? What happened to Mr. Clarence? Oh no, he's been missing for some days.
So real quick,
He's been in the house
before we have to wrap today. Darnell, go to and I know we seem like we kind of skated over entertainment tonight, so you can take a couple minutes and share about entertainment.
So no, the only thing I really had, the only biggest thing that was in entertainment was just basically, we kind of touched on a little bit ago, was the factor of the alleged of the storm of how Dubai caused their own demise with this storm, but also how quickly they started to rectify the issue. It's like I don't know what listen. I don't know what their leader and his mindset and the mindset that he has put upon the people over there. Or whatever. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful place. The place is an absolutely beautiful place. It's a very safe place. It's a place where you can become very wealthy if you going over there. But baby, when I tell you, them people were in a shit show on Monday, but by Wednesday they were back up and moving.
Wow. Well, that's when you have a commitment to what what you're about. So let me pull this item before we go ahead and wrap from that. So audience, as I said earlier in the top of the show, that we really, 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 really want to hear from you. Okay. And just on topics and things that we have already discussed. I want to hear, or I'm not saying I mean general, but we want to hear where are you on this political platform? Why do you think about the way you think? If you are a Trump supporter, it's okay. I'm not gonna mad. I ain't gonna call you. Well, anyway, but I mean that's you, and you have your reason for it. My own relatives are in that, and I don't understand why, but they try to have an argument about it, but it's not a good one because they can't argue with me, at the end of the day. But this and all of the social issues that we talk about from time to time, feel free to send an email. It may not be doing this show tonight. Send an email to TTBTT show, and when we get it, we'll review it and bring it to light so you can catch it at another time that we've discussed it, or even put it in the comments. Don't be afraid to put it in the comments, okay? If it's something we agree with, we dislike, or whatever, put it in the comments because we do want to address that to you, for you and about the show. You got some educated men here that can really help you understand things a lot more as to what's going on. So please do that for us. All right. Want to remind you also again to get your mug. I don't have mine handy tonight. I was a little late and get set here to the set, but get your mug. Okay. One way you can get a complimentary mug for us is by your likes and shares. Send 5 likes and 5 shares to our email, same email address, ttbttshow@gmail.com, and then we will send you out a complimentary mug. Okay. Purchasing is still on promotion for $13.99. You can also get it by sending an email that way, and then we will instruct you how to send that for send your money in for that as well.
If you buy 3, we will reward you with Meghan Markle's strawberry jam.
Oh my God, I can't. I can't. Anyway, and also if you'd like to be a contributor to the show, we have our platforms for that as well. I want to kind of remind you of that. You can also to our Cash App, which is The Truth Beyond the Truth on Cash App. And then on Venmo, it is the TTBTT show on Venmo as well. So we would love to have your cash reports as well so we can keep propelling and getting this thing to where it needs to be. All right. Well, hey, it's been a great night. Ain't no time to open up another conversation tonight on the show. All right. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Beyond the Truth tonight. We will be back here next week with a lot more, and especially with our wonderful sister that's been on the show, been on many times, but we'll be back here with Miss Tyra Jones next week. All right. So we're really looking forward to that and being able to dig in and get some insight on what's going on this news media level. So y'all have to be more educated. So spread the word. Okay, because she's going to be here. All right. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning into what? The truth behind the truth. Have a great night, guys. Bye. See you next week.